everyone, my name is Richie and welcome to my channel. Today I'm sharing with you the reasons why I think you should be reading Saga. So I know a lot of people on BookTube read Saga, but I also know that a lot of you have started Saga and not completed it, and now is the perfect time to do so. So I'm going to tell you why that is in 5 reasons why you should be reading it. Whether you started and haven't finished, whether you've never started, regardless of the reason, you need to read all 9 trade paperbacks. Yes, that's right, there's 9 of them now. The first, the second, the third, fourth, which is one of my favorites, 5th, 6th, 7th, which is another one of my favorites, 8th, and 9th. So the first 9 trade paperbacks complete the first arc. This means that first half of the story, this story has completed to an extent. It's not over, there's more to come, but the authors are currently in a hiatus, so they're going to take a break before they continue writing, which means this is the perfect time to binge all 9 trades, get caught up. Whether you've slowed down on your reading, stopped reading altogether, or have never started Saga, this is the perfect time to pick it up, binge the entire series, complete it. I'm telling you, it's well worth it. If you ever thought it lulled, it definitely picks back up and ends this first arc with a punch. So if you aren't aware, Saga is a graphic novel series, and it is kind of a space opera, sci-fi, Romeo and Juliet inspired story. So this follows a girl from a planet and a boy from that moon, and they are on opposite sides of the war in their universe, and they fall in love amidst all odds, have a baby, and then have to go on the run because their family is now really in jeopardy and hunted because nobody wants these two warring people to come together, and nobody wants this to be known that this has happened. So they're on the run trying to keep their family safe. It just talks about all of their adventures in doing so. It's so much fun, it's so good, and I love it. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing. I post new bookish videos on this channel every single week, and I think it's a really fun time on this side of the internet. But without any further ado, let's get into the 5 reasons I think you should be reading Saga. So reason number 1 you should be reading Saga is the art. Fiona Staples is the artist on this, and she is fantastic at creating the best color palettes, bringing things you didn't even know you imagined to life. This is a sci-fi and fantasy world, and these creatures, these inhabitants of these planets themselves, these mystical things you've never seen before are coming to life in this beautiful, vibrant way, and Fiona does such a good job just bringing this story to life visually. Reason number 2 you should be reading Saga is the stakes. Some of the most impactful and painful storytelling I've ever experienced. It's common knowledge that I hate when things don't have stakes, when I feel like something is consequential, when there's a war and nobody dies, there's a love story and the couple never have any fights, anything like that. I feel like the stakes have to be high for me to buy in, and that's never a problem with Saga. I always buy in. The stakes are always high, nobody's safe. It's terrifying and lovely and wonderful at the same time. It makes the story so much more dimensional, and I love it for that. Reason number 3 that you should be reading Saga is the ideas explored. The ideas explored in this are fantastic. We have everything from trans identities to interspecies relationships, which is obviously like a parallel for interracial relationships. We have everything from abortions to growing up too fast. We see the exploration of war and violence, love and sex, life and perspective. Oh, the perspectives are great. We see some people hunt our main characters, Marco and Alana. We see things from their perspective. We see why they think they're the good guy, why other people think they're the good guy. You see some people change their mind or come to the to Marco and Alana's side. You see some people never change their mind. You see the kind of motivations for different characters who are at different walks in their life with different goals in mind, and it is fantastic. I just love how deep this world can really get if it wants to be. It's an adult comic, so sometimes it's sexy and racy or violent and gross. It definitely gets dark, but because it's an adult comic, it deals with adult topics very well, and it brings a lot of nuance to that, and I love it. Reason number 4 you should be reading Saga is because it is not predictable at all. You will never see where the story is going. As a reader and a person who's consumed a lot of stories in my lifetime, it's very hard for something to surprise me. Twists don't typically get to me, and this book is always keeping me on my toes. I'm always surprised by what turns it's gonna take. I'm always shocked with what's gonna happen next. There are times where maybe you'll get a hint about what's gonna happen like 2 pages before it happens, To me, that doesn't count. That's just the storytelling style. That's not you guessing what happened, because you guess it 2 pages before once the author gives you a clue. For me, I'm talking about things, you seeing things coming before you get that obvious tip off from the author. That kind of writing style where you just don't know where things are going just makes me incredibly happy. And our last reason, number 5, on why you should be reading Saga is Hazel, or the narrator. So Hazel is Marco and Alana's daughter, so the girl who is on the run with her family, and this book is actually told from Hazel's perspective. She's telling you, the reader, this story as an adult, or I guess grown up. We don't know how old she is, but she's in the future. She has survived to a point. We don't know her end game. We don't know how this frame works, but she's telling you this story, essentially. And you see the comic play out like you normally would with like graphics, dialogue bubbles, and plot points and things like that, but you also see without these little narration bubbles, these parts where she just interjects and says something, and it's fantastic. So plus side, we know Hazel makes it at least to the point where she's telling the story. Who knows what's happening at the point where she is telling us the story. She hops in with moments of tidbits or reflections, nuance, and ideas, being able to look on this thought or this event that happened to her in hindsight, now that she has the perspective of knowing what happens next. Obviously she doesn't spoil things for you, but she says things in a way to like give this great gravity to what's happening. Since she's giving them from this hindsight perspective she has in the future, it makes what she's saying so much more nuanced and compelling, and kind of moves the story forward. And I just love that storytelling narrative. I think it's so fun and cool and different, and I love it. She touches on everything from children's perspectives of things going on around them, tidbits about how things played out in the future, or who said what about certain things. Her perspective, her interjection, her hindsight, her narration are always those quotes, those moments that I write down and hold on to. They are some of the deepest and funnest and most unique in the entire series. So I hope that gave you some great reasons why you should be reading Saga, especially more than just that, oh, it's a fun story and it's in space and blah blah blah. I think these are the things that really make this graphic novel for me stand out, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and tell me if you plan on finishing all 9 trades soon, or if you have already, what you thought of the ending of the last one without spoilers. Don't spoil for anyone, but yeah, let's talk about that. Anyways, like I said, that's all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!